Greetings and welcome to the latest episode of Preserve the 80s. This is the first episode recorded in 2021. I hope this year is off to a tolerable start for everybody. I'm dealing with some food poisoning right now, so it's going to be a bit before I'm able to get back on the fast food horse, but that will happen. So I'm going to do something a bit different tonight, which is complain. This is actually the fifth incarnation of Preserve the 80s. Many people, well, as many people watch this channel anyway, are probably not aware of that fact. The first came about in 1999. It was a small website that I built using Trellix, which wasn't the greatest platform in the world. And I eventually lost my password for that and lost interest in the site and stopped doing anything with it after about a month or so, but even 22 years ago I was already yearning for the 80s. Next version came about in 2001. It was a site that it was a tripod site that I ran from about 2001 to 2005. And following that was a WordPress site, And the common bond between all three of those was that, well, for one thing, they were a whole lot less G-rated and family friendly than the channel that I have today. But the other thing that they all had in common was that they were just a series of complaints. Every article was just a long-winded rant about one thing or another. Fourth incarnation of Preserve the 80s was the original YouTube channel, which ran from 2009 to 2010. Only 2 videos survived from that period. They're on the channel, my current channel now. The How to Eat a Baconator and the original McRib history video. That's where they came from. And they were posted to the third website that was around from about 2009 through 2016, I believe. I stopped posting then. And I got too cheap to continue to pay the hosting fees, and I guess if I ever do, the site will be back, but I don't plan on it. But anyway, back to complaining. Or I guess it's time to start complaining because I really haven't done it yet. As the title of this video shows, I don't like it when people say, we're in this together when it comes to the whole COVID-19 situation. I just find that phrase extremely trite, annoying, and meaningless. First off, we are not in this together. People haven't come together to form this beautiful, harmonious, loving, caring utopia that these non sequiturs try to display. These meaningless, empty phrases. In my experience, it's brought out the worst in almost everybody. We're more divided than ever before, and people are using the virus for their own sick gains. It's definitely not making people any better. I recently heard someone say, thank God for COVID. Without it, we never would have beaten Trump. Now, whether you like Trump or hate Trump, or like Biden or hate Biden, a disease that's killed as many people as this has is not exactly a small price to pay, so that's a pretty sick way to look at it. Also, I was at Price Chopper a little while ago. For those of you who do not live in the Northeast, Price Chopper is a chain of grocery stores. I was trying to get in line to check out with my groceries. There were only 2 registers open, so in order to get to the back of the line, I had to go up into the aisle behind the register. This aisle happened to have the arrow pointing in the opposite direction, because now most stores try to dictate which way you can walk up and down the aisles. More on that subject in just a moment. But anyway, I had to walk up the opposite direction in which the arrow was pointing to go to the end of the line. So as I was doing that, somebody who was already in line stuck their foot out and pushed forward trying to trip me. Now, I didn't have the cart to lean on, so my mobility issues were on full display. So, yeah, COVID warrior, it takes an awful lot of bravery to try to trip a cripple, but that's what they were doing. So don't tell me we're in this together, because that's just a load of bullshit. And on top of that, no two people are experiencing this in the same way. Some people have had the disease, some people have died from it or cared about somebody who did. Other people have lost their jobs. Some people, their psychiatric issues have been worse. Some people have been stuck in abusive relationships, and quarantines and such have not helped that out in any way. So pretty much everybody is miserable from it in one way or another, but no two people are experiencing it in the same way. But even if they were, what comfort is there in the idea of we are in this together? If you're really miserable and struggling, why should it make you feel better to know that somebody else is experiencing the same unhappiness? Where is the positivity in that? It's just a meaningless, empty phrase that people only spout off because it's the in thing to do and they've been programmed to do it, and it's just a lot of bullshit and I hate it. We are not in this together. Never have been. Never will be. And getting back to the whole thing about directional arrows in stores, that's a bunch of bullshit too. I mean, I guess the idea is that people don't face each other when they walk past or whatever else, but the aisles just get crowded and blocked up, and you're going to end up facing someone anyway if you forget an item. You have to go back and get it from the shelf, or if somebody passes you and they're looking at an item or whatever else, it's not much of a safeguard. It's just an annoying hassle that really hasn't been proven to help anything. And then you have your people who go around proudly wearing their masks as if by wearing a mask they're curing cancer, and trying to crucify anybody who they catch without one, even if maybe that person just left their mask off for 5 seconds and forgot it, or if they have it in their pocket, they're about to put it back on. Saw that happen on a train. A fight ensued. Or you have your people who refuse to wear masks and they think that they're the next Paul Revere, or they think that they're such a freedom fighter that they should have a place up on Mount Rushmore. It's, well, to make a long story short, it's just brought out the worst in everybody, and no, we are not in this together. But that's not the only thing I wish to complain about. There are a lot of things that I hate. I hate it when people say woo. Just clap. There's no need to say woo. Not now. Not ever. Don't do it. Then you have the health Nazis who rail against fast food and anybody who eats it, and that pisses me off. I don't care for rabbits. Those are just some things to complain about. I hate Netflix. I also hate it when pizza is undercooked. Cheese is bad and should be avoided in all situations. But if you can't avoid it and it's going to be on a pizza, please don't, if you're the person making the pizza, don't make it so white that even the KKK would reject it. Nothing is more disgusting than opening up a box of pizza and seeing it just so ghastly white that you feel like you're being haunted by some evil entity. It's unappetizing. It's just wrong on every level. Pizza should be burned, charred, crispy. If it's not black, send it back. And that's the rule that I live by. I hate those cardboard cutouts that they're putting into the seats in sports arenas and such these days. If there's not a crowd, don't pretend there is one. Those cardboard cutouts are a waste of time. They're a waste of money. I know that at least in Citi Field, where the Mets play, some people are paying to have their faces put on cardboard cutouts. Asinine. What's the point? Now here's something I don't wish to complain about. Faygo sodas. A lot of people speak negatively about them. They're really, they're really not bad at all. This is Diet Fago Cola. I got it at Aldi on Sunday, and it's a solid A minus. I really have no complaints about this. It's not Tab, but it'll do. I hate it that they include milk with Happy Meals these days. Every time I see a kid get milk and apple slices with a Happy Meal or kids meal at Burger King or whatever they call it in the other restaurants, I die a little inside. Morgan Spurlock, when he did Super Size Me, did something to the tune of eating at McDonald's 3 times a day every day for a month. Of course you're going to get fat and sick if you do that. That doesn't mean that McDonald's is dangerous or should stop serving the food that does, because anybody with half a brain isn't going to be going that overboard with it. Even I don't do that, and I couldn't care less about how clogged my arteries become. If you eat there in moderation, it's fine. Nothing's going to happen to you. And it's not McDonald's job to raise your kids. If you don't want them to eat burgers or french fries or soda, tell them no. I hear the excuse used that it's poverty capitalism that forces it to happen because people they don't have the time to go grocery shopping or cook a meal or buy nutritious food or whatever else. But I don't know if you've been to McDonald's lately. It's not exactly cheap anymore. Might not be a gourmet restaurant, but it's more expensive to eat at McDonald's than it is to go into a grocery store for 5 minutes, buy the makings of a small meal, spend another 5 minutes to cook it at home. You can do that. It's not that much of a challenge. I've done it myself on many occasions. It's not that hard to do. If your kid wants something that you don't want them to have, tell them no. That's on you. That's your responsibility. And then just to list off some other irksome things. Overglazed hams. The way that people in New England treat Dunkin' Donuts as if it is some kind of a religion. Letter Q isn't used enough. It's the 17th letter of the alphabet. Give it some respect. The whole millennial baby boomer conflict is little more than a meme that just never started being funny. Please just shut up about it already. The letter T not being pronounced when an N precedes it. I already made a video about that, so... Well, it's the secondary focus of one video. Watch my Trouble with Twix video for a more in-depth lecture on that topic. Those small little circles of grease that float to the top in a bowl of soup. Don't care for them. This door behind me, I hate it. The general decline in quality of entertainment that exists today as far as TV, movies, and such. This microphone is standing on top of a stack of some DVDs from relics of a better time. There are some for 80s commercials. There is a Sanford & Son DVD box set. Seasons 1 and 2 of The White Shadow. Things from back when TV was good and entertainment had something to offer. There's very little now to turn to. I hate those long lines at Starbucks, and I don't even patronize Starbucks. I don't actually wait in the lines. I just don't like seeing them. Make your coffee at home, save some money. I've been to Starbucks, it's really not that great. So, if you want to sit there and waste your life for subpar coffee, be my guest, but just do it where I can't see. I suppose I could always just wear those blinders like horses do, but that'd probably be pretty dangerous on the road, and that wouldn't be good. Driving the Hyundai is dangerous enough. Well, I suppose that'll be a wrap for this episode because I'm having a bit of trouble staying awake and concentrating, and being awake annoys me too, so I'll add that to the list of things to complain about. If you have anything to complain about, please leave your rant in the comments section. There's no need to be positive all the time. Our capacity to piss and moan is what makes us unique as a species, and it is the air that we breathe. False positivity is the smog that will eventually kill us all. Farewell.